Supposedly Gaethje vs. Chandler was a fight of the year. They took it by anonymous decision. Personally, I felt like it was a little bit monogamous. Rock 'em, sock 'em, rock 'em, sock 'em. Sock 'em, rock 'em. This fight would have been a better movie for CTE than that one that Will Smith did. I prefer something with a little more nuance. Like the Lion Tamer cracking that whip against all odds. The YouTuber putting the 5-time UFC champion to sleep like if he was white noise. Or Chael Sonnen telling us from the future that he was gonna lay out 5 fools at the same time.
1-on-1, 2-on-1, or 5-on-1. I'll make them all need 9-1-1.
And then doing it. But nah, you like that non-title 3-rounder. I got you. Let me break it down for you. Hey, what's up everybody? My name is Jesse and I'm the founder and grandmaster of MMA, Mexican martial arts. This video was sponsored by me and my Cameo page. Click that little link and I'll turn you some flips. I'm your puppet. If you don't know what Cameo is, then your life is on the right track. And if you do know what it is, then hit me up. You know, I think Cameo is a beautiful platform to be on because a lot of celebrities such as myself can come on here and raise money for different charities and organizations of their choosing to help out the less fortunate, you know? But I will not be doing that. A lot of people thought that this should have been a guaranteed title shot fight because the next guy in line didn't look like he even wanted the title. He wanted to keep fighting for money, and they wanted to make sure that the low budget Khabib wasn't gonna leapfrog over everybody. But we know now more than ever that the rankings don't mean anything. Poirier got the fight anyway. And now Oliveira's waiting for the Gorilla Glue on McGregor's leg to dry so that he could fight the 9th guy in line. Oliveira's gonna skip over every single contender so that he could secure his legacy as the Gucci Whisperer. But that's irregular. This video isn't about Oliveira's 30 for 30. It's about the 2 fools that were fighting to get next, even though they didn't get it. Michael Chandler came into the fight having just lost to the current champion, and Justin Gaethje was coming off a loss to the actual champion. Kind of like a battle of the bridesmaids type of situation. And I think that's why they fought with the aggression that they did, because nobody wants to be second best, because that if you're not first, you're last. But then they say that the last will be first and the first will be last. And I believe that's in reference to the UFC rankings, because they obviously don't go in order. But for what it's worth, which is obviously nothing, Chandler came into this fight ranked number 5 and Gaethje ranked number 2. Looking back, I think they both knew deep down inside that neither of them will get the next shot.
We're the #1 contender. It's a #1 contender fight.
But it was more like a People's Choice Award kind of thing. Chandler has said at the press conference that Gaethje was going out in the first round. So you already knew he was going to come out throwing haymakers. What we didn't know is that he was on that Nate Diaz defense, and that he was going to be blocking 90% of the shots with his face. And it's that small detail that turned this fight into the battle of the brain damage. I believe that Michael Chandler has both the speed and the agility to move in and out and tee off on Gaethje all day, if he could just keep his hands up. But maybe all those haymakers drained the stamina too early. And although this worked in Gaethje's favor, he proceeded to admonish Chandler for being so reckless, and he spanked that fool. But Gaethje wouldn't be upset for long. He decided to capitalize on the situation with his own haymakers. So much so that he turned his prediction at the press conference into a reality.
He's gonna turn into a wrestler real quick.
Not only was Chandler the first to go for a takedown, he then clinched up right after that, no doubt hoping that it would lead to a takedown. And after that failed, he immediately tied up from the back. And when that went nowhere, he went for the clinch again. And realizing by this point that he no longer had a sense of shame, he went for the full-blown takedown, which got stuffed. The mental battle was over by this point. They had like a unspoken gentleman's agreement that the first one to go for a takedown will be the her. So Michael Chandler had to go back to his corner after round 1, knowing that he was gonna have to settle for plan B. And no, I'm not talking about Bellator, but Justin Gaethje didn't have it much better. He had to go back to his corner and deal with that psychopath Trevor Whitman. I hear that he's a nice guy, but I don't trust nobody that smiles that much. Even when Gaethje got rocked, look at that smile he has on his face. Either he doesn't have his fighter's best interests at heart, or that fool doesn't know how to express his emotions. But I have to admit that sometimes it's easy to get caught up in the moment. For example, the first time that I saw this fight, I thought that it was a lot closer than it really was. Michael Chandler kept hopping around, spitting out blood, taking shots like a zombie. Stuff like that can mess with your head and make you think that a fighter's doing way better than he really is. But this ain't WWF, no disrespect. But when Mankind would take shots to the head, we loved it because he was a savage. And we weren't worried about points. But when Chandler takes shots to the head and we think he looks like a savage, that's just more points for Gaethje.
I know you want to show that you're tough, but it's not about that.
We could talk about how tough Chandler is all day. You already know that's not a compliment in the UFC. You know who else is tough? Calvin Kattar, Brian Ortega. When you watch the fight back, it's obvious that round 2 is where Gaethje really pulled away. Literally. With the no takedown thing now out the window, Chandler kept trying to go for it, but he got stuffed every time. Whether it was an actual takedown attempt or whether he was trying to work his way up to one. Gaethje could see exactly what he was doing, which left Chandler with no choice but to take Gaethje's vision. The ironic thing is Chandler was acting like he had lost his own vision, where he pretended like he didn't see the referee telling him to stop. If your peripherals are that bad, then you shouldn't be in the octagon, unless your name is Michael Bisping.
Mexican martial arts.
The craziest thing though is that Chandler landed a hard right hand, and we should assume that he threw it as hard as he could. Because why wouldn't he? And not only did Gaethje not defend it, he wasn't even looking at it. And it didn't even wobble him. That was a dirty move by Michael Chandler that I can't believe went unpunished. We don't always see eye to eye, but Big John McCartney would have never let that stand. But it serves him right that Gaethje took it the way he did and made Chandler look like a punk. Not only was Chandler desperate to grapple, his biggest undefended shots were no match for Gaethje's indifference to trauma. After the second round, Chandler was looking for medical attention, and Gaethje was over there trying to increase the match difficulty. He was trying to pick a fight with the referee because he didn't like how the eye poke situation went down. But Trevor Whitman told him, don't even trip.
Look at me. I love the fun.
The third round was like when you're playing a tutorial in a video game and the guy just keeps letting you hit him because he knows that you're trying to learn a new move. Chandler was that guy. And then he had the nerve to tell Gaethje to bring it. And you could tell by the face that Gaethje made that he was like, it's already been brought in. But Chandler obviously didn't mean it anyway, because he went for another takedown. But Gaethje wasn't about to let him have this one either. And he rotated his body down until he got caught up in what looked like a modified tombstone pile driver. But instead of getting buried alive, he took the back. But Gaethje never wanted to grapple, so he did that catch and release so that he could go toe to toe. But by this point in the fight, Chandler couldn't go toe to toe, unless we're talking about footsies. So he continued to show people how tough he is. He did his best Michael Scott impression. He threw spinning stuff, and he started emoting. The first time I watched the fight, I thought, this fool must think he won if he's stalling this hard. But after watching the fight again, I could tell that he just gave up because it was no longer competitive. It's like when Marilena starts with all the name calling because she doesn't have any good arguments. And that's when I know I got her. And like, none of those names that she says even like gets to me when I think about it later, you know, when I'm by myself or whatever. At the end of the fight, Michael Chandler was bloodier than an angry Englishman. But I probably shouldn't show you because YouTube and Justin look like, you know, he always has that face. I don't think this was the fight of the year, especially after watching it again. I think a better fight will be between Dana White and Justin Gaethje because Dana White is disrespecting Gaethje. Dana White, knight in shining armor, is coming through for the golden boy once again. I don't know how he's supposed to lose 50 pounds though. If you ask me, he should just leave the weight on and fight Paddy Pimblett. But we have to remember that the fight of the year is objective. There's no right answer. Was it Nunes versus Peña? Very likely. Was it Jake Paul versus Tyron Woodley? Possibly. Was it Khabib versus the ring card girls? Maybe. Let me know your pick down below. Alright, so as most of you know, it's been a while since I've done a long boy like this video. I've been making those 60-second ones and people have been asking for one of these. So in celebration, finally doing it for the end of the year. I think if I'm done editing, it might come out at the beginning of the year. I'm not sure. I want to celebrate Tai Tuivasa style. Go and get a chancla if you want to celebrate with me. If you're a little bit under the weather like me, then you could use some cough syrup. And if you're not, then you could drink some Pepsi. However you want to get down. We did it, boys. And ladies, thank you. I now have a 2% female audience. I used to have like 0.0013, and it's up to 2 now. So I want to thank all the ladies out there as well. But thank you, everybody. We did it. Thank you for watching Mexican Martial Arts. Appreciate it. Good looking out. Late.